as our collaborating and funding partner. Join us on Flowing Clean because every drop counts and the river depends on you. Flowing Clean, restoring our rivers together. Keep the river clean.
Please keep the river clean. I beg you, please keep the river clean. No more trash in the water. Keep the river clean. Let we preserve for the future.
Good morning, Sufre. Good morning to all the listeners who are viewing live on Facebook, on YouTube. Welcome once again to another edition of Flowing Clean. I am your host, Nadia Kazobo. This morning, I am going to be briefly going through some of the activities that Flowing Clean is going to be doing. And we have a couple exciting shows lined up for you next week and week after. I have been trying my very best to get some persons to come onto the show, and I have been able to book a few persons who would be able to talk to you about the history of the Sufe River, using the Sufe River. Today's show, I was hoping to engage our DJ here, DJ Ulan, with us, but like me, he's sick, except his voice is gone. Mine has returned, but his voice is completely gone. He's barely whispering. So unfortunately, I cannot have that discussion that I wanted to have with him, to talk to him on his perspective as a young man in Sufre, on whether he has ever used the river. But I'm hoping we will get some persons to call in to talk to us about the uses of the river, why we're doing this project in the first place. Um, as you have heard, Flowing Clean is a project where we are aiming to restore the Sufre River. We want to work with the community, work with residents, work with businesses for us to get uses of the Sufre River back, so that when we do need to go back to use the river is clean and safe for us to do so. Right now, we are in a situation where the water quality in the river is not suitable for recreation. And ideally, nobody should be using the river for their own health and safety. But we intend through this project to start the process of cleaning up the Sufre River. And that begins with every single one of us. Our uses, what we do, directly impacts on the Sufre River, and the health of the river impacts on our human health as well. Right now, there's something going around in the air. Lots of persons are falling sick with the flu or whatever virus is in the air. The same way we can get sick from poor water quality. And we want to ensure that our Sufre River is restored to the point that when we do need to use it, it is safe for us to do so. So, Flowing Clean, we've been engaging several different agencies, several different businesses, the schools, for us to have all persons in Sufre, from the young to the elderly, involved in this project, because it cannot be just one or two persons working, it has to be the collective effort. And what we tend to realize is the persons who are littering are a minority. So if we have 50 persons polluting the water, it is affecting the 8,000 of us who live in St. Lucia, live in Sufre. So for us, we are working towards implementing all our project components, and we have succeeded in quite a few of them already. So I will give you a rundown. We have the charter for the management of the Sufre River that has been out for persons to sign. We are getting all the school students to sign, and this week I will be collecting the sign up sheets from the different schools and counting how many signatures we have. So by next week, Tuesday, I'll be able to report to you where we stand in terms of signatures. We also have the charter out at different businesses for persons to sign, at the banks, at the credit unions, at the Sufre Foundation's offices, both at the waterfront and at Town Extension. We have it at the Sufre Town Council. All the schools have copies, and it is also available online. I'm going to be posting the link again, once again, in the YouTube and the Facebook stream, so that you can click on it and see, and for you to sign if you have not done so as yet. We are aiming for us to get at least 4,000 signatures, because in Soufrière we have about a population of 8,000. We want to get more than half of Soufrière signed on to the charter so that we can present the charter once it is signed to the government of St. Lucia to say, here, we have 4,000 persons who have signed on, the majority of which are from Soufrière. We want our river cleaned. We therefore want you, government, to play your part and to ensure that the Soufrière River remains clean. So allocate resources, allocate money, and do the work that needs to continue once the project ends. The Flowing Clean project is supposed to end December 2026. It cannot go past that. That is our hard, fast date. We have no possibility for extensions. So we want to ensure that we complete all of our project activities before that date. So to sign on to the charter, I am posting the link on Facebook. And at the end of the show, we have a prize to give away for a voucher to go to either the Dream or to Gourmet Restaurant for lunch for one person. So we would want somebody to call in for that, to answer that question. To continue the project activities that we do have something coming up next week. We have already trained a team of monitors who would be assisting us using aerial unmanned vehicles, UAVs, or drones, as you may know them, in monitoring what is happening in the Soufrière River. We have a team of 7 persons who were trained and who would be assisting us. We trained actually 13 people. All of them are now qualified pilots, but the main monitoring team are comprised of persons from the police, the Soufrière Police Station, SMMA, PMA, of course, myself, Waterways, and my colleague. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I should cough away from the mic. My apologies. So we also have procured we have procured a drone for the project that I am hoping to finally clear from customs, from the shipping agent, because we received concessions. Where we want to say publicly thank you to the district representative as well as the government of St. Lucia for deeming our project worthy of receiving concessions so that we could procure our items for this project and not have to spend as much money. So that is a in-kind contribution from the government of St. Lucia that we are very grateful for. That way our project funds can go a lot longer, go further with our project funding. We have a handing over ceremony next week, Wednesday, the 1st of October. We will be handing over the drone. The funding agency will be handing the drone over to us. And we will also be presenting certificates to the certified pilots who have completed the course. And we will begin our actual monitoring once we have that drone in our possession and we have the license for the software that we are going to be utilizing. So in October, hopefully very shortly, we will begin the actual process of flying this very technologically advanced drone that will be able to identify the locations of all the ravines and rivers in the Soufrière district. So we will be mapping from Bouton to Ansivoine, and that I can tell you will be taking quite a number of weeks to do because it is an area that is quite extensive. It is not going to happen in one day, and we want to ensure that we cover the entire area, and then the processing of that will take a little bit of time as well. So for us, we want to make sure that we have mapped all our water courses so that we can monitor the river banks. We can monitor what is happening in the river. If there's any instance of pollution, we will be able to see it using the drone, especially in areas that are hard for somebody to walk to. We'll be relying heavily on this drone and our drone monitoring team to conduct these activities. We also are moving ahead with our water quality monitoring. The two of us here in studio are coughing. Give me 1 second. So for our water monitoring, we will very shortly be collecting the water samples next week, and those samples will be sent, processed. Some of them will be processed here, and the rest of the samples will be sent to a lab in Canada for testing. So in November, once we have the results, we will begin providing the results on air as well as with our community consultations that will be continuing. The Soufriere Action Theatre also has put together a skit for us that we will be engaging them. They will be performing at our community consultations as well. And hopefully I can get them in studio for them to do something briefly for us as well. We have our water, our flowing clean, keep the river clean song that, as you have been hearing, sung by our very own from Soufriere, King Arthur Ale. And we are hoping to turn this into a music video. And we've engaged him and a videographer to get this component done for us. So we have been working assiduously, working in the background to get quite a few of our activities up and running. And the whole idea, the whole reason for doing this is for us to restore the health of the Soufriere River. And why do we want to do that? Obviously, the water quality in the river needs to meet recreational standards for persons to go back to use the river. And I have been speaking to people for this past month, 2 months, talking to them about their uses or what they wish we could use the river for. Just this morning, I had a discussion with some persons at the foundation office and talking about bathing in the Soufriere River just by the bridge by Ashley's garage after Hurricane Thomas, because there was no water in the community for weeks on end. So persons went back to using the Soufriere River. And if Raleigh could call in right about now, I'd be very happy. We want to ensure that the water quality is up to par, so that, God forbid, anything happens, that we can go back to use the river and be ensured that the water quality is good. In speaking to persons historically, they will tell you about their families building bassins, and before the hurricane season, everybody would go down to the river, clean out the area that their family used, rebuild their bassins, and they would be catching crayfish on a Saturday, go down to the river every Saturday to wash and bathe. It was a community activity. It was a meeting place for people. It was an area where persons would talk to one another, exchange information, give jokes, have fun. So the river, all in all, was a resource that fostered community togetherness. It was a meeting place for persons in the community. It was an area where we would congregate, we would chill out, have fun, and make memories. These are the activities that you do that leave a lasting impact on you. And our young generation, our children now, they don't know that. They've never experienced that. How many persons now can say that, when last did you bathe in the Soufriere River? Or when last did you bathe in any river in St. Lucia, for that matter? When last have you bathed on a waterfall in St. Lucia? These are resources that we have that we are losing, and we need to get them back. We need to arrest our bad practices. We need to stop our bad practices so that we do not lose them. and we do not pollute them any further. So the whole reason for doing this project is to benefit ourselves, is to benefit us, because we never know when we would need to use the river again. I know persons are still using the river for washing vehicles. Is that the only use that we want of the Sufa River? Or do we want to restore the river to the point where we can hold river lime? So we can actually organize activities around the Sufa River as an economic activity. So we can hold a river lime for Journée Creole and persons can come to the river, bathe in the river. Their children can have that as a memory. Persons in the area can vendors can sell things and play music. You have activities, catch crayfish, you roast your breadfruit on the side on free stones. These are things that we need to bring back. We are losing touch with nature. We are losing touch with our God-given, our homegrown resources that we want to ensure that we still have them for the future. So I've also been speaking to persons who've told me stories about felling trees, cutting trees down. And the river used to be so full of water that they would cut a tree in the forest and it would float downstream all the way to the mouth of the river, where they would then take the wood out, a big trunk of a tree trunk, to make it into a canoe. We have lost the skill and the art of making canoes. And some of that part of the reason is because we do not even have enough water in the river if you have to fell a big tree for it to take it down to the sea for it to make a canoe out of it. These are traditions, these are cultural activities that we are slowly but surely losing. And unless we make the conscious effort to change our behaviors or to relearn or to teach the younger persons, the younger generation, we will lose it completely. These traditions still continue in our neighboring islands. I know for sure in Grenada, there's actually programs where the older folks who are into shipbuilding are teaching the younger ones as a skill for them to take part in the annual regattas. So in Grenada, um, there's a tradition of building vessels, building boats, shipbuilding, and then there's a annual regatta sailing competition. That also happens in Martinique. In Martinique, at a certain point in the year, around May, June, there's a sailing regatta around Martinique. Home vessels, boats that people build, they sail it from one community to the next, and it's a whole competition where prizes are awarded, significant prizes are awarded. That's something that we have been doing or had been doing in the past that we have lost. We had canoe races in St. Lucia, and persons, the young persons, have no clue about those activities. So if it is something that we want to bring back, that we need to seriously consider what it is that we are doing, how we are impacting the environment, and how we want to move forward. So here we have an opportunity with the Flowing Clean project. Let us make use of that opportunity. I want every single Suferian, everybody listening, everybody who comes to visit Sufre, to play their part and help us get this project, all our activities done successfully. When we call on persons to come to community meetings, please attend, because we are giving you some very vital information that everybody who comes to my meetings keep telling me, oh, Miss, you need to come back because more people need to hear what you're saying. More people need to hear about the water quality. More people need to understand and ask questions when they need to. So when we do restart our community consultations, I would implore you, when you hear about it, if you are coming, bring somebody else along. We have a problem with information dissemination, getting the word out in Sufre. We've tried on the radio. I'm on the radio saying about activities that are happening. We have a loudspeaker town crier going out. Somebody is driving for all communities. And persons will still tell me, I don't know. It's on Facebook, it's on social media, it's going around via WhatsApp, and persons will still say that they don't know. And is it really that persons don't know, that they don't pay attention and it is not a fact? So they're not going to be interested. It is not political, so they're not going to pay attention. It is not something that is dealing with crime, so they're not going to pay attention. That is not how we should be operating in this country. I mean, we should be above that level of only if it is sensational, then we are going to pay attention. We need to rise above that crass base level. We are not cavemen in this country. We are not a third world country. We need to be forward thinking. We need to look to the future to see how we want our Sufre to look and start taking actions from now so that we shape our community, we shape our country the way we want, we envisage it to be. So I'm going to open the lines if anybody wants to call in to give me your experience. Talk to me about what you have done, how you have used the river in the past, or what you want to see our Sufre rivers looking like in the next 5, 10 years from now. And if anybody wants to call in, the question for today remains, how many persons have signed the charter for the management of the Sufre River online? If you can call in and give me the current figure for how many persons have signed the charter for the management of the Sufre River, we have a prize of a $25 gift voucher to any one of our restaurants, either Game or the Dream Restaurant, and you can claim your prize. So if you can tell me how many persons have signed the charter for the management of the Sufre River as of right now, you can call in to claim your prize. It's unfortunate that I cannot have a discussion with DJ Erlen right now because he is just like me. So the numbers are 4597885, 4597888, and 7305388. Again, the numbers to call 4597885, 888, and 7305388. So if you could call, or you can message on Facebook or YouTube, we will, or you can also WhatsApp. You can tell me how many persons right now have signed onto the charter for the management of the Sufre River, and you can claim your prize. Also, you'll tell me about your experience in the Sufre River, if you've ever bathed in the Sufre River, if you've ever gone to, if you have ever gone to any of our waterfalls in the Sufre area, and you can tell me about your experience as well. Once again, the number is 4597885, 4597888, and 7305388. I'm waiting for a call from anybody. Call to talk to me about your experiences in the Sufre River. Well, I'll give you my experience. Unfortunately for me, I've never had the pleasure of bathing in the Sufre River because by the time I was born, the Sufre River had already been deemed to have Bilaz and it was not safe for bathing. But I still played in the river, even though I got beaten for that. I actually lost a brand new sneaker in the river after having been told not to follow the boys. I was a tomboy. I followed them, of course, and we went to throw stones in the river. That was our pastime. I didn't have tablet or cell phone at the time or computer. And I found the one spot in the Sufre River that had quicksand. I never knew we had quicksand. I found the one spot that had quicksand and I sank and I lost one shoe when the boys pulled me out. Tried to hide that from my mother. Unfortunately, I still got beaten for that. So my experiences in the Sufre River, I've bathed at several of our waterfalls, Superman Falls, the waterfall at Wavinclay, the twin waterfalls. I've gone to one of them, and most recently, over the summer, we had a rainforest camp with some students, and I was at the Ambasso waterfall. But that Ambasso waterfall actually flows to the Chumase River. It's not actually in the Sufre watershed. It's on the back end of the watershed. So that's that Chumase The Ambassador waterfall flows to the Trumasi River. So I've bathed at several waterfalls, several other rivers around Suffer. Um, the Canaries River when I was younger, as well as the Maho River in Miku, the Denry Waterfall. I've done some exploring of St. Lucia. I've been quite a few places, both as a cadet and in my role as the program officer for Waterways. I've taken children camping in the forest, hiking through the rainforest, bathing at waterfalls in Bellevue, in Saltibus, in Miku, in Dennery, in Soufre. I've yet to go to the Canaries waterfall actually, but I've bathed in the Canaries River for sure. We tried going to the Ansari waterfall, but I can't remember what happened. We had to turn back. I think it's the weather was not conducive at the time. It was raining heavily. So if anybody wants to call in, I'm not seeing the lines blinking. I'm not seeing any messages coming in. We are getting close to the top of the hour when our show ends. And so far, nobody has called to claim that prize to tell me how many persons have signed onto the charter for the management of the Sufa River. The link is actually right there. If you go on Facebook or YouTube, the link is right there. You can click on the link and call in and tell me. Make sure you sign on to the charter as well. Please do. We want to get to that number of 4,000 signatures. So please, if you are listening and you are interested in signing on, you can go to our Facebook page, Caribbean Sea Waterways, also on our website, www.mywaterways.org, and you will see the charter that you can click on it and it will take you to the page for you to sign. I have a comment from Sheldon Lionel. Do we still have those bacteria in the river like long ago, or are we vaccinated and do we not get sick from them? So the reason why the river was deemed not safe for bathing back in the late 70s was because of bilharzia. Bilharzia is a worm, a parasite that lives part of its life cycle in a snail that is found in the rivers around St. Lucia. And if anybody is walking through the river or bathing and they have any cut, whether it be on their arm or their leg, any part of their body, and that worm can actually burrow through any broken skin and blocks your lymph system. So some persons would end up with a huge leg or huge arm from having that bilharzia worm in their bodies. But from the Ministry of Health, they have not had any new cases of bilharzia in a number of years. And actually, under this project, we are going to be collecting some snails to do some testing to see whether we still have this parasite in our waters. So part of our work is to ensure that if we clean up the water quality, we have to ensure that we do not have any more schistosomiasis in the river, because you don't want to say that the river is safe and we still have bilharzia, the risk of bilharzia in our waters. So we have not had any new infections, to answer you, Sheldon, but we have not been able to test. Until we do the testing, we cannot say for sure that we do not have any more of those worms in the snails that are in the river. But the snails are still there. They live in the water. They're endemic. They're found in our waters. So we have to continue testing to see. Good morning, Georgiana. Are you ready to answer my question? Are you going to tell me about your experience in the Soufrière River? How many persons have signed on to the charter to claim a prize? We have a food voucher to either the Dream Restaurant or Gourmet Restaurant up for grabs. Okay. If anybody wants to try, it is now 11 o'clock. And so far, the lines have not gone off, neither on WhatsApp or on our direct lines, or nobody has tried to answer the question online. She said she has not signed. You could answer the question, but I would love for you to sign on to the chat as well once you answer the question, Georgiana. So the link is right above your comments in the chat. So if you check the comments, you will see the link for the charter. You can click on it to sign and tell me how many persons have signed so far. And if you answer, you get yourself a gift voucher to one of our restaurants in Soufrière to have lunch. Do you have the answer for me? Anybody else wants to try? We're going to end our show at 11:05. So we have a couple more minutes for somebody to try. Sign on to the charter and then tell me how many persons have signed. Yeah. Both DJ Ulan and myself, well, I am at a later stage than him. Antibiotics and cough medicine and our natural remedies work, you know. So I was just sharing with him what I am doing for how I got my voice back. And for it cuts out the cough. So if anybody is suffering from the flu, whatever virus is going around, you can do a mixture with molasses, local honey, cod liver oil, lime or lemon, and add in some cinnamon powder. Mix that up and you take a tablespoon every time you start coughing and it cuts out the cough. Our local remedies work, guaranteed. I'm actually working with some students for the SBs now for CPA. We're looking at some herbal remedies that work, and I will swear by Shinitwef as well for any diarrhea and stomach issues. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a little hint. Next week, we have a guest who is actually from Dominica, and he will be talking to us about his experience working in St. Lucia and comparing how Dominicans treat the river and the differences between Dominica and St. Lucia. So tune in next week, Tuesday, for our show, Flowing Clean. We will continue, since nobody has answered the question, we will continue, and we are getting some bigger and better prizes for our listeners and our viewers to call in. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. We want to engage you in what it is that we're doing, and we would be very happy to get more persons to call in and to message us online. And I will be back here next week, Tuesday. Hopefully, DJ Ulan will be much better and we can have a better discussion ongoing. Hopefully, I'll be fully recovered by then as well, too. So until next week, I would like to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. And thank you once again to our funding agencies, to our sponsors, Jeff Small Grants and Procare Plus. You can go and look them up online. We are also getting funding very soon from the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. Look out for that, our another big announcement. And we are working with some on another grant as well. So the ILM project should be coming on stream as well too. And there's a lot more in store for us in Soufrière to help us get to where we want our river to be. Until then, I am going to be signing out. See you next week. End the live.